You see, when we talk about self-love, people misunderstand it and misinterpret it because those two words are in it. Because they hear the word self and they hear the word love. And so it's interpreted as a person who loves themselves. And quite all right, it's a person who loves themselves, but the energy behind what the person does is not the same as a person who is acting from a love of themselves. So a love of themselves, it's a very different thing. I already made a video about that, explaining the differences, and I'm going to put that up because it's important to understand this. The best people to have a relationship with are people who have self-love. And in fact, the relationship that you have with yourself, if you have self-love, is the best mindset that you can carry going into a relationship. The big difference between people who have self-love and people who act from a love of self is that people who have self-love position everything that they do in a relationship from the angle of what is best for both individuals, in the best interest of both people. They are never thinking about just what is good for them. They're thinking about what is good for the other person as well, because they understand the importance of what is good for them. And so that's where they operate from. When people hear self-love is not what it sounds like. It's not totally about taking care of yourself. It's a template. When you know it and you are using it, you use it as well to be the best person that the other person can have, because you know what a person will not want to be done to them. And that's how you're going to treat the other person. So that people can begin to understand. In fact, the reason why people have relationship problems is the lack of self-love, is the absence of self-love. Because when you're having a misunderstanding or an argument, or you're trying to put a point across, when you are coming from a place of self-love, all that you are doing always includes thinking about how the other person is thinking about themselves as well. And the reason why you do that is because you understand it so much for yourself, and you understand that you cannot be comfortable when you are not comfortable. So your comfort is important to you, and therefore, because you completely understand that, you understand that the other person, when they're uncomfortable, they cannot be at their best. And so you know that what is best for both of you is that both of you are protected. So a person who has self-love always acts from protecting the dignity of the relationship. People who misunderstand it because they are thinking the way that they approach things, because we're always going to use our own standards in everything to judge other people's actions. So when you begin an argument, if you're a person who isn't conscious of self-love, when you are going into an argument, your focus is to make your point known and accepted because you believe that you are right. Whereas a person who has self-love, even when they believe that they are right, they totally understand that all that they know is all that they know, because this individual has understood that I may not be perfect in A, B, C, and D, and I accept that. I am not worrying about you knowing that I am not perfect in A, B, C, and D. So it is never their focus to make you see them in a certain way, because they are fully accepting of their faults and weaknesses. That is why sometimes it might appear that a person who has self-love is conceited, because they're not invested in getting your confirmation. They're not invested in getting your validation of something, because they're already okay knowing that they have limits, because they have come to love themselves like that, understanding that I have limits and I don't know everything and I may be wrong. Just see me when I am wrong and know that I'm not a perfect person. And they're okay with it because they are done. They are done with trying to be everything for everyone, understanding that that is an impossibility for a human being to attain. So that is what the real thing is. This person is now at peace with having people who disagree with them, who do not like their position on something. That's essentially what it is. But when someone sees that this person isn't even bothering to get their approval or their validation, their understanding of it is that this person is so full of themselves. It's like they feel that they know everything. But that is not the energy behind that decision, that I'm not really interested or invested in getting you to agree with me or to see my point. Because it's not because I know that my point is what is most important and I don't want to hear your nonsense. It is because this is what I know and this is what I believe, and I understand that you are also entitled to believe yours and not accept mine. Deciding that I'm not even engaging in the conversation about whether you agree with me or not isn't coming from get lost, I know better than you. It's coming from it's okay for you to not accept what I think or what I believe. That is the way that such an individual is processing what they are doing or their lack of investment in your coming along with them on what they believe, because they are happy to be with what they believe and allow you to be with what you believe. And that is why it's the most peaceful relationship to have, because they're always considering what you also believe and what is also important to you. So they don't even go away feeling angry with you about not coming along, because they understand that you only know what you know, just the same way that they only know what they know. And that's why when two people who have self-love are in the relationship, they totally get it. They get the other person's position when they are standing on a fact, when they are presenting something, because they are doing exactly the same thing. And you'll see that when these people have misunderstandings or disagreements, they will just have a conversation about it. They will deal with the issue on ground and it's over. They don't go away, each person feeling angry at the other person for not agreeing with their point. Now, when an individual who has self-love is with someone who doesn't understand it, the other person usually suspects or assumes that that individual is angry that they didn't come along with their opinion. They just cannot understand that a person can actually be okay with somebody else disagreeing with what they believe in and still be okay with it. And that is why when a person has self-love, it's impossible to deal with an individual who doesn't operate in that concept, because the quarrels will be endless. But love for self causes a lot of confusion because the lines are always blurry. They're going to want you to extend yourself to do things that you have said that you're unable to, or you're unwilling, or you're not interested in doing, or that are beyond your capacity. They're going to think that that means that you don't love them if you're not going to be willing to give up things that you have said are your values. Whereas when you're dealing with someone who has self-love, they won't want you to give up the things that are your values. They come to the acceptance that this person is only able to do this. This is what they have said. And they understand that you are a human being within your own rights. You have your own dignity. And they want to maintain your dignity because their own dignity is important to them. And that is where the difference is. When you are thinking of peace and you're thinking that everything is over and done with, the other person is suspecting you of things that haven't even been voiced. But people who operate from the concept of self-love, they're not usually holding back. They are able to be open and expressive because they are not worrying about not being accepted for what they believe in. They are very okay with it. The only times, I'm not saying that they will say everything, because they will also have to filter. Is this person able to accept this conversation? Is this person able to process this conversation? They are just the best person to deal with because they're not busy hiding things because they're worrying about another person's opinion on what they are expressing. These people are usually sincere They deal with you with sincerity because they've removed a lot of fear already. The fear of not being accepted, the fear of the relationship itself being on the rocks, because they are not willing to sacrifice their peace. Now, you don't really get to a place of self-love until you've decided that peace is really all that matters to you. And so even if the whole world, even if everybody, even if everyone wants to disagree with you, you don't even mind. And the fact that you don't mind, the fact that you're not willing to get them to come on board with you, usually looks like arrogance. It looks like self-absorbed. But it isn't, because if they pay attention, they'll see that you are still treating them with affection and love and consideration. And that's the difference. You can agree to disagree and still be loving towards whoever you are disagreeing with. But most people, once you are in postures of disagreements, the idea, the understanding is that now we are opponents, right? And even when you are approaching them with affection or warmth, they are suspicious of it because they don't operate that way. So they keep on placing their own standards on you, whereas your own mind is clear. You're not thinking anything. The focus is peace and acceptance. It's not a thing of fighting, proving points, being the winner, winning something. That's never the focus. The focus is just acceptance of the things that I can't change and letting things go. Letting things go. No anger. Just acceptance of the things that I can control and the things that I cannot control, and knowing that the other person is unable to control what they are unable to control. It's just that knowledge of we are all limited within what we understand. The acceptance of self, that is what it is.